ultimately means, from what I understand, higher you rise in frequency as structured being, mental, emotional body end up integrated. How that looks like, what is it?
Well, they are integrated. They start out integrated. It is that you teach yourself out of integration and into separation through the consensus belief systems that so many of you have chosen to agree upon in your society system. Do you understand? Now, that's not just, you could say, an individual choice in that sense, although eventually, yes, you are the creator of all that you perceive. So on a higher level, it is. But you are, you could say, translating also the question, the yearning for exploration in a particular way, in a particular direction, from and within all that is. So your planet, you could say, Gaia, has volunteered, the version that you're focused on right now and that all of you are focused on right now, has volunteered to have a particular chapter, you could say, of a much, 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 much longer storyline to be played out on her surface, on her skin, in what you understand to be your physical reality, your surface reality as we see it. And within that game, there is still a lot of polarity or seeming polarity, because yes, eventually it is all one, to be played out. But you have done, you could say, the hardest part of the job. Now, this may not necessarily always feel like that for some of you, because of the rising of the frequency and you all becoming more and more in tune, more and more invited, stronger pulled towards your realization of your oneness with the whole. Things come in much more intense. You seem to have grown longer antennas. It is as if whatever occurs runs right through your hearts in some occasion, and we understand. Yet, please understand also that if you want to, it is a little bit like, we like this analogy, a dog that took a nice swim in the water, came out of the water, shook its fur to get rid of all the moist, the wetness, and is now in the after shivers, you could say. Mm-hmm. So you are drying up, you are getting nice and dry again in the beautiful sunshine on a hot summer day, while you are ridding yourself of everything that does not belong to you, that is not inherently you. And that is why any belief system that you have adopted that is not in alignment with your own higher self, that comes from friends, family, society, you name it, from upbringing that was rooted in the idea of separation, needing to take place for you in order to survive. When it came from there, it will feel so much heavier on your shoulders. That is because luggage that isn't yours weighs so much more. You understand? So as you evolve yourself, you get to know yourself better, you start to live from your heart, your highest excitement, you begin to bring these things together. You begin to see that your rational, logical mind, or what some of you call the ego, is not your enemy. It is your very best friend. It shows you, it points out to you, something here and something here is still not in alignment with who you really are. And once you understand that fears that come up, because this is, you could say, the messenger that is being sent to you. It feels like fear. When it sends you these messages and you begin to understand, hey, there is another messenger being sent to me, that is integration right there. Allowing the fear to come up. No longer suppressing whatever emotions are being triggered by particular belief systems. In fact, helps you unravel whether they are originally coming from you and or adopted. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So as you raise your frequency, you become experientially more of a whole, but none of you is broken. When you choose to experience a big gap between the mental part and the heart part, the feeling and the thinking, it's how you holistically have chosen to explore this persona self in that moment.
So you can stop being schizophrenic or something. It's like you're no more arguing with yourself. You're more integrated.
Schizophrenia is a different thing.
It is.
It's a very different story. That is more of an agreement also made on higher self, where, let's say, it almost overlaps with the idea of a walk-in or a walk-with, as was just suggested as an idea, where parallel incarnations are taking turns gazing through the spectrum of a one main incarnation, playing out storylines that still desire a voice, even though they might be from different dimensions, because it is relevant, again, for the environment. So you are co-creating the idea of schizophrenia as a race, as a phenomena that happens within your race, because the idea of other dimensions and other realities is still so often suppressed. This triggers a lot of things in many people around people that are schizophrenic, as you label them. Well, really what they're doing, they're being teachers, allowing you to become a little bit more malleable with the idea of a sudden shift to another dimension. Because you don't know who you're speaking to, the person from this time frame or that time frame or that reality, that dimension. They're all coming through, one after another. When is it shifting? Who can tell? But it helps you become a little bit more flexible, you see. Do you understand?
Oh, I do.
Beautiful example of bridging realities.
Very beautiful one indeed.
But so you said, somebody can just stop being schizophrenic? Often not like that. This is a bigger agreement.
Yes.
But do you understand it for yourself?
I do actually, and I see way more structures and pictures. It's in a way, it's in a way harvesting all your aspects, or using different aspects in different moments, which are in different frequencies.
And embracing them.
And embracing them.
Because separation is the sole result of not embracing what is in front of you.
Yeah.
Does that help you?
That helps a lot. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so very much. Yourself.
Is it possible to ask another question?
How is your time unfolding?
So up to 6 minutes now.
So there is how much left?
9 minutes.
Go right ahead.
My concept is of rewriting history with Wieteke. We were also talking about it. Is to me, it's understanding your life experiences in a constructive, evolutionary way rather than drama victim.
Yes. You can choose what to focus on.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if mental, emotional body is changing in that moment, physical body should be changing too.
It is.
And it is. Things are healing and etc. Interesting. I start realizing my fingerprints are fainting. They're just going away. Is it something related to that, or is just my skin is getting cleaner or something?
So, to take it one little step back to the first part of your question, you shift into an entirely new version of yourself all the time. So every single split second you are in an entirely new body. The way it continues to look like or feel like has to do with the belief systems that are the fundament of that. So when you choose to focus on a more holistic, self-empowering view of your childhood, as an example, and you sense particular complaints fading, it's just your body underlining that what you're doing is helping you balance out in that moment. But it's because you believe that to be true that it emphasizes, you could say, that message that you're already giving yourself. Most of you use the body as a messenger in that way as, let's say, additional motivation. You see? And that is why many complaints come forth from stress, because it slows you down. The complaints force you to look at yourself. because you have chosen to be incarnated and you are still on that journey of exploration up until the second you choose to check out. Because of that, there will be a storyline of the body, the physicality, weaving in with the emotionality and the psychology, you see. Now, for you personally, what does it mean as, let's say, a short definition, perhaps one sentence, what does it mean, the word fingerprint?
No, some type of physical identification in some way, but physically, yeah, it's unique. So if my identity is shifting, my fingerprint should be shifting, and that should have been a good confirmation, I guess.
And then that's why you have manifested this to be the case in your life. It is because you believe, it is logical for you that things would evolve in that manner. And so you begun to embody it. You understand?
I like it.
Well, that's a beautiful example of loving what you have created for yourself. And we thank you for that and for the playfulness in it. Does that suffice?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Oh, yes.